Earlier this month, CBS's parent company quietly agreed to pay $16 million to end a $20 billion lawsuit filed by President Donald Trump. $16 million. Pocket change in corporate America, but the message was loud. The corporations have surrendered. And now, Trump is suing the New York Times for $15 billion more, claiming defamation and lies. Even though the case has already been dismissed, it's the symbolism that matters. Another victory in his relentless war against the press. Meanwhile, Disney and ABC have suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely after a controversial monologue. A late-night host silenced for words, and everyone shrugs, saying, "That's broadcast stuff." But over here on YouTube, we're watching a democracy quietly suffocate, one headline at a time. Narrator. Today, the president's voice echoes through every agency, every boardroom, every courtroom. We will use every resource of the Department of Justice and Homeland Security to identify, disrupt, and destroy these networks, to make America safe again. That's not the language of freedom. That's the language of fear, the rallying cry of authoritarianism. I don't expect everyone to sit through this video. It's going to be long, dense, and at times infuriating. But if you do, you'll understand how we arrived here, what's coming next, and the few remaining choices we have left before the system fully collapses. Nations, like reputations, take lifetimes to build and seconds to destroy. And America's moment of destruction is no longer theoretical. It's happening now.
Part 1. How we got here. The seeds were planted more than half a century ago. In 1971, a corporate lawyer named Lewis Powell wrote a memo to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, a quiet manifesto calling on American business leaders to reclaim the country from liberal influence. That single document became the blueprint for the modern conservative revolution. Within a decade, the Heritage Foundation, Cato Institute, and Federalist Society were shaping policy, writing judicial opinions, and hand-selecting future lawmakers. By the 1980s, Ronald Reagan put their playbook into action, cutting taxes for the wealthy, dismantling unions, deregulating everything that moved. Wall Street rejoiced, workers stagnated, and inequality, the disease Marx warned about, began to metastasize. Every administration since, Republican and Democrat alike, has deepened the wound. Bill Clinton, the so-called centrist reformer, signed NAFTA, deregulated banking, and oversaw a historic prison boom that targeted the poor and the marginalized. Obama, the great hope, bailed out banks but not homeowners, expanded the drone wars, and quietly renewed surveillance powers. Even Biden's presidency, trapped in the shadow of corporate donors and endless wars, has struggled to undo any of it. Neoliberalism isn't a policy, it's a religion, and America has worshipped at its altar for 50 years. Part 2. The machinery of control. Authoritarianism never arrives with tanks on Main Street. It comes wearing a suit, quoting the Constitution, promising safety. Trump's latest lawsuits aren't about money, they're about precedent. They train the media to self-censor, to avoid risk, to stay quiet. They turn corporations into co-conspirators in silence. And the Supreme Court, handcrafted by political design, has rewarded that silence. It has granted the executive branch unprecedented immunity, essentially declaring that the president is above the law. This isn't democracy, it's dynasty. Corporate America, sensing the shift, has already picked its side. Tech giants comply with censorship requests. Universities purge students and faculty who protest wars or challenge authority. Foundations like the Open Society and the Ford Foundation are now branded terrorist sympathizers. The government calls dissent a national security threat. Environmental regulations are stripped bare. Wind farms halted. Clean energy projects abandoned because one man dislikes the view from his golf course. Immigrants are deported en masse. Diversity programs erased. and a new caste system takes form, one where white Christian loyalty becomes the price of employment. It's all written down. It always is. First in think tank papers, then in executive orders. Power never hides, it publishes. Part 3. The Economic Time Bomb. Economist Branko Milanovic once said, "Capitalism's greatest product is inequality." And that's the engine now tearing America apart. For decades, wealth has flowed upward, leaving the middle class a hollow shell. Real wages haven't moved since the 1970s. Corporate profits have tripled, and the billionaire class, fewer than 800 people, controls more than the bottom half of the entire country. This isn't a market malfunction. It's the system working exactly as designed. Marx predicted collapse through revolution. But what we're witnessing isn't revolution, it's sedation. The working class, pacified by debt, distraction, and nationalism, has been taught to protect its oppressors. The right sells anger as identity. The left sells moderation as progress. And between them lies the vacuum where democracy used to live. Part 4. Project Esther and the New Repression. You may have heard of Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation's plan to reshape government if Trump wins again. But few have heard of Project Esther, the darker sequel. Under the guise of fighting anti-Semitism, Project Esther targets pro-Palestinian voices, leftist movements, and progressive universities. It demands mass deportations of foreign students, bans on dissent, and surveillance of activists. It recycles the logic of COINTELPRO, the FBI's 1960s operation that spied on civil rights leaders and black liberation movements. Back then, activists were wiretapped in secret. Today, they're tracked in public. Algorithms have replaced agents. Social media is the new surveillance state, privatized, efficient, and legally untouchable. And while America sleeps, the machinery of repression hums quietly behind the screen. Part 5. What happens next? If history is a guide, collapse isn't sudden, it's incremental erosion. Each year, another right is trimmed, another norm erased, another line crossed. Here's how the next year could unfold. A speculative bubble bursts. Maybe housing, maybe crypto. Layoffs surge. Homelessness skyrockets. States run out of money. Protests erupt and are met with violent crackdowns. Freedom of speech is curtailed online for security reasons. The economy spirals into recession. The president declares emergency powers. Elections are delayed until stability returns. And just like that, the American experiment, 250 years in the making, ends with applause instead of gunfire. Part 6. The bipartisan failure. But let's be clear, this isn't just one party's sin. Democrats didn't stop it. They enabled it. Complicity and collusion are two sides of the same coin. They deregulated banks, endorsed wars, expanded surveillance, and looked away from corporate corruption. They believed that moderation would save them from extremism. It didn't. It invited it. The result? A two-party system that functions like a single corporate machine, one that speaks two dialects of the same language. Profit. Part 7. The choice. So what now? Revolt, revolution, despair, number. It begins with recognition, the realization that power only yields when confronted, not when asked politely. The working class must see itself again, across race, religion, gender, and geography, as the 99%, because that's the only number that scares the system. Mass protest, general strike, a peaceful but unstoppable demand to rebuild this nation from the bottom up, to reclaim labor rights, public health care, education, and housing, to dismantle the war machine and rebuild the infrastructure at home. It's not about left or right anymore. It's about up and down. Every empire believes it's eternal, right up until the day it falls. Rome, Britain, and now America. But decline isn't destiny, it's a warning. And if you've made it this far, thank you for staying above the noise. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow Frostline Economics for more deep dives into politics, power, and the economy. Stay sharp, stay informed, stay above the frost line.